Has high school gone like you expected it to go?
It's not like High School Musical at all.
This is Leyna. We've been following her educational journey since she was in kindergarten.
I want to be a president.
By the time you hear this, the class of 2025 at Leyna's school will have graduated. But she wasn't part of the ceremony.
High school didn't really go the way I expected it. I was really excited, to start high school. But when I was in 9th grade, like the middle of it, I realized this is not that exciting.
A few months before high school started, Leyna's dad died.
Honestly, freshman year, I had to keep pushing myself. But then after that, I felt like that was my breaking point when I realized my dad was lost. So then I think that really did take a toll on how I was participating and stuff and how my work was being put out. So
Leyna's a first-generation Vietnamese American. Her parents fled the Vietnam War. Her dad's dream was to see her graduate.
He would always tell me that he wanted me to graduate because he didn't really get a chance to do that because of the army and stuff like that, the war.
After her dad died, Leyna struggled to complete her work and switched to online school her senior year. She was dealing with some health issues and helping her mom take care of her little sister. School just wasn't her main priority. From the Gert Boyle studio, I'm Jen Chavez, and this is The Evergreen, a podcast from OPB about the place you call home. Today, another story about the class of 2025. Back in 2012, the state declared an ambitious goal that by the year 2025, we would have a 100% high school graduation rate in the state of Oregon. OPB decided to document the stories of a kindergarten class on their journey all the way through high school to capture what it's like to grow up in the Oregon education system and all the other life experiences that make us who we are along the way. And now that 2025 is here, we're here to tell the stories of those who aren't graduating. For the last few years, education reporter Elizabeth Miller has been following the class of 2025, really getting to know the students. She's going to tell us how people like Leyna's life experiences show how this 100% goal was never really going to work. I'll let her take it from here.
Hello.
Hi.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, I like the hair.
We're entering Leyna and her mom's home in Southeast Portland. They were dealing with some car issues while I was waiting outside their home.
Did it get fixed?
We're still waiting on it. The brakes, we need to fix it.
Ooh. It's early January of 2025. This is my first time seeing Leyna since the beginning of her senior year. I first met her back in 2019. And I'll admit, she's one of my favorite students I've interviewed over the past couple of years. She'd always be up for a chat when I'd see her at school. Even during COVID, I once FaceTimed her and her friend Gina when they told me about the middle school tea pages, basically Instagram pages full of gossip.
The school tea pages suck a lot. They don't even post about tea. Only post people I don't care about personally.
She has quite the personality.
Do you want to see Pitbull?
Yeah.
She's taking me and producer Mia Estrada up to her room to show us her pit bull flag. There, on her wall, in a huge font, is...
Oh my God. Live, laugh, love, Mr. Worldwide.
They call me Mr. Worldwide.
That's Mia.
Oh my God, is that Draco?
No, that's my mom. Her face photoshopped on him.
Oh my God. We know what? How did that happen? How did that come up?
My mom, she has TikTok. I monitor it, and she did one of those AI things where she put her face on him, so.
I love her sense of humor. We sit down in the living room of her home. She's wearing gray Aeropostale sweats, a black Naruto anime t-shirt. She's got on her pink glasses and a yellow pimple patch that's shaped like a star on her nose.
Currently, I go to school in the David Douglas Online Academy. I don't go to school, in person at the campus anymore.
She just switched to online school in December. She had previously attended David Douglas High School, one of the largest and most diverse schools in Oregon. I've been wondering why she made the switch since graduation is just a couple of months away.
I think I felt, personally, it was a better switch for me going online because I have a lot of like errands to run. I also have like a lot of like just chores to do and stuff. So I think doing online for me helps me like manage my time better. I think there was times when I was like, I don't know why I'm here in classes, because sometimes when I was in class, it felt like it was like a little boring. No hate to the teachers, they're really fun, but I think just personally being in class, it wasn't something I would do.
Since Leyna switched to online school, she says her typical day is usually logging into her Chromebook, doing some work for 2 hours during the morning, and then getting some chores done around the house.
When I was really sick, I would stay home and then I would clean the house because my mom would ask me, so because I was home. So I think it's still like do some schoolwork and then do a little bit of chores, keep the house tidy, and then go back to doing some schoolwork. That's kind of how my day goes.
When I saw you at the beginning of the year, you were talking about like wanting to get back on track and wanting to like get to graduation and stuff. Like how is that going?
I'm going at a pretty steady pace, I think. It's like I'm getting a lot of work done to go through the credit recovery process. I think I'm slowly getting there, but I think I'll probably make it.
And how many classes do you have to make up right now?
Honestly, I'm not really sure. But I do have 4 classes that I'm working on right now.
When students enter online school, they're enrolled in 4 classes per semester. It's basically like independent study. They can work on courses at their own pace. From conversations I've had with Leyna's counselor at the beginning of the year, I know she still has a long way to go when it comes to finishing her required credits. And when I'm here at her home, I was curious what kind of classes she was taking. But
I don't have my Chromebook on me, right? It's at my cousin's house. I was there for today, so.
Got it. Dang, okay. Leyna's mom, Lan, is also here with us in the living room. She said their lives collapsed when her husband passed away in 2021.
It's so sad because from nowhere, we just have fun for Saturday and then suddenly the morning, he gone. Yeah, so it's still a big loss for us, yeah, for my kid too. I'm still learning how to be understanding my kid because they're growing. They're not a baby like 3-year-old or 5-year-old.
I feel like I do want to keep pushing at certain stuff for my dad because he would always tell me that he wanted me to graduate because he didn't really get a chance to do that because of the army and stuff like that, the war. Most of the stuff I'm doing that I try to keep pushing, like academics and stuff, it's like for my family because I don't want to really, be behind and not graduate.
Her dad passing away, on top of all of the other life challenges, Leyna says it was just all so overwhelming for her to just keep up.
I was like, I don't see this going anywhere, so I kind of gave up. And then at some points, I wanted to go back, like get on track and stuff. But then my health kind of declined in a way. So it was really hard to do that. So I was overwhelmed by my health and like the amount of schoolwork I had.
And at this point in her online school journey, in January, she hadn't talked to her new online counselor. Do you still talk to your counselor at high school, DDHS, or do you have a different one?
No, I have a different counselor that I talk to on DDOA.
And what are they like?
I haven't talked to them.
Ever?
No, not yet.
Okay. So how do you know
I think they shoot you an email.
To tell you, like, if you're on track? Okay. So no one is really guiding her through school or talking with her about her future. But even though Leyna is not on track to graduate, she does have plans for the future. Or at least she's thinking about it.
I want to go to cosmetology school because, I don't know, it's been like a passion. I don't think I've ever told anyone this, but when I saw my mom at her nail salon, like, because she had a nail salon in Pennsylvania, I watched her and I was like really amazed of like how she did everything. And I think it's like one of my passions, I guess. So that's why I wanted to enter cosmetology school. And then I also wanted to start up a business so my mom can also go in there, because sometimes like the nail salon that she's at, it's like, kind of sketchy with all the employees and stuff.
Her mom, Lan, does nails at a local salon. Leyna's also thinking about joining the military. It might seem out of left field, but it's not really. Her uncle's in the Navy.
I like the Navy, but the Marines did reach out to me. I think I'm gonna do the practice test next week, Wednesday.
Her mom says she just wants Leyna to be happy, no matter her decision.
All I want is for her to be the best of herself. I believe that they know what right and wrong. They know more than me. They're too smart because all the internet, she always, try, and sometimes she don't know, lost in her mind, don't know what to do. But I just say, hey, don't push yourself. Just thinking, if you're not getting that level, you can do something on the side. It's a lot of things out there. Try this way. Hey, your dream to be a nurse, but not work out. You can be CNA or like receptionist or beauty, like, work in salon. So that's all. Every job is a job. Yeah, at least until you find what is fit for you. That's it. And comfortable. I'm not pushing my kid have to be a doctor.
Before I left Leyna and her mom, Lan, producer Mia Estrada and I asked her about graduation and her future plans once again.
Do you know if you're going to, graduate in June, for sure yet?
I think I will. I just have to get all my credits done.
Yeah.
If you don't get your credits done, as just a possibility, how would that make you feel?
Honestly, I'd be probably disappointed in myself for not putting as much effort in there. But I think even if I don't get my credits in, I still have the summer to keep working on it.
Yeah. What are you excited about in the future?
I'm excited to get money. I'm also excited for my sister, watching her grow up, because she's in 6th grade. 6th grade is really hard. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Time really flies by.
Okay. Good to see you, Angel. Thank you so much. It was nice meeting you. Nice meeting you as well. Okay, take care. Bye, guys.
On the car ride back to the office, I still had many questions. Would Leyna make it to graduation? Would she get caught up with her remaining credits? How would life pan out for her in the months leading up to high school graduation?
I feel like the reality hasn't quite set in yet. But I'm excited for her. I think she'll get there on her own time. And I'm glad she has her mom and Angel and her cousin, because it seems like those people really they know her and they are watching out for her, those people are important.
It's now early April. I want to know where Leyna stands, so I'm visiting her former counselor, Kagan Young, at David Douglas High School. It's been a couple of months since we last talked to Leyna.
Thank you. It's a Friday in April.
I'm in Kagan's office. He was Leyna's counselor up until she switched to online school. He pulls up her transcript.
What it shows is a really strong freshman year, and GPAs of 3.75 on one semester, and passing all of her classes, which is really an awesome year. And
but then things start to shift for Leyna her sophomore year. Kagan says she starts to fail the majority of her classes, passing some here and there. Since she's been at David Douglas Online Academy, she's only earned half a credit.
To me, when I look at it, it's like spinning your wheels. She might be completing work. I don't know, because the program that the work is done is separate from what tracks the schedule and the credits. But I work in the world of completed credits, right? And they're not there. For an organ diploma, you need to get 24 credits, and she's completed 13.625. And currently, she needs 10.375 credits to graduate. And that's in the areas of lots of areas, career and elective and language arts, math, PE, science, social studies, all of those.
It's now mid-May. I've tried reaching out to Leyna and her mom a few times, but I haven't heard from her since I visited her home in early January. I totally understand not reaching back out to me, a reporter, asking so many questions about your educational journey. It's a lot. But she's been on my mind. I reached out to her new online counselor to see if I can find out how Leyna's doing in the final month of her senior year.
I'm Kim Anderson. I'm the school counselor at David Douglas Online Academy.
I'm talking to Kim on Zoom. She mentions that she saw Leyna's mom recently.
It's cap and gown pickup time. And her mom came in last week to pick up her cap and gown. And she just said, she's like, I know Leyna's not going to graduate this year, but, we had ordered it at the beginning of the year. And, anything you could help with, we appreciate.
Since I last talked with Leyna, Kim says she hasn't made any progress in completing her credits.
She's not been engaged in her schoolwork for quite some time.
She still needs 10 and a half more credits to go. That's about a year of school.
There is a certain level of guilt, shame, disappointment that these seniors feel as their people are graduating and they aren't. And I try to reach out that week and just send an email and be like, hey, schedule a time to meet with me and let's make a plan.
If students are behind, who checks in with them? How does that kind of accountability work from your end?
So when students are behind at DDOA, every week I run an engagement report. So a lot of texting, calling, emailing, trying to get a hold of caregivers, trying to get a hold of the students. Teachers also will reach out and try to email and call or text.
At the time I'm talking with Kim, she says the last time she messaged Leyna was in early May.
So she had made an appointment with me and then canceled. Yeah.
According to Kim, the state of Oregon requires two-way communication every day with online students. So one way that works for online students is a daily attendance email. Kim sends that out, and students respond to it.
Does Leyna respond to those attendance emails?
This is producer Mia Estrada again.
Let me pull it up.
Thank you.
So in the case when a student will fill out the daily attendance report and not be as engaged, I consider that like a student skipping school, right? Like they go to first period, they get marked present, and then they skip. So it's the virtual skipping school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she fills out her attendance regularly.
So it is like she's there, but she skips.
This is a hard conversation to have. I'm a reporter, but I'm deeply invested in Leyna and all of the class of 2025 students' lives I've been following. I've known them for years. I've seen them grow up. I've seen Leyna shine on stage as she sings with her choir class. This is me reflecting on Leyna's pathway as I'm leaving David Douglas High School back in April.
The thing that I really think about is like how much it's not the end of the road just because you don't graduate, and that it's not necessarily everyone's path to graduate in 4 years and then go to college and then do the thing. Like it's not realistic, and it's not what's going to happen for everybody.
It's now the first week of June, graduation week. I tried calling her mom, Lan, one more time, and she actually picked up.
Okay, so yeah, Leyna, tell me a little bit about how things have been going and kind of what the plan is going forward.
Me, Leyna, and her mom, Lan, ended up talking for about 20 minutes. One of the things I asked her about was what happened when things started to fall apart her sophomore year.
The biggest changes were doing work that was probably not suited for me, because I wanted to experience having other classes, especially classes that my friends had, and it wasn't really my niche, I don't think the teachers were really much of a problem either. It was kind of a me problem, honestly.
I also asked her how she felt about not graduating with her class.
Well, I'm fine with it. I didn't really expect it anyways, because I was kind of going through a lot, physically and mentally. So it did put a toll on my academics.
She told me this spring her grandma moved in with her, another change that she said she had to adapt to quickly. But Leyna still wants to finish her credits and graduate by January.
How do you think you'll feel when you do get to graduate?
I feel like it'll probably be something that's finally off my plate, and like probably I can breathe again or something.
This is my last interview with Leyna. After trying to contact her for a couple of months, I ask how she is, how she's feeling, and reflecting on her journey.
How do you feel like you've changed since kindergarten, like personally?
Personally, I feel like I've changed because I'm not that outgoing anymore. I feel more self-reserved, and like I feel like I need to work on myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you want to work on about yourself?
I kind of want to work on having a growth mindset.
I love that. How do you feel like having a growth mindset will, like, what do you think that would do for you? Or how that would help you?
It would probably help me because I would be able to think more positively.
This is probably your last interview with us. Do you have a message for future Leyna?
Don't give up.
This is Lan, Leyna's mom.
Life is not easy, but don't let yourself go. Never lost yourself. You have to believe in you.
Yeah, don't give up.
As of right now, Leyna still has plans to go to cosmetology school. That's the route she wants to take.
It's good to talk to you. I'm proud of you. Life has not been easy. There's all kinds of things, and you've handled it so well.
Thank you.
I appreciate you for all of the candidness and talking to us for all these years.
You guys have been amazing companions watching me growing up.
It's been so fun.
Coming up after a break, another student who isn't graduating, but is confident it's the right choice for him.
There's a lot of people out there that ask that question, ask if, why I don't go to school, or why haven't you gone to school or finished school? And I'm like, I tell them it's not for everybody, and it's not everybody learns the same.
Why he decided to leave high school early and head into the workforce. Thanks for listening to The Evergreen, our podcast from OPB about the place you call home. If you like what you hear, subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app, and we'll bring you something special to listen to each week. And remember, this episode about the Class of 2025 project, from kindergarten all the way to graduation, is made possible by the support of many thousands of OPB members. You help us bring ambitious projects documenting our region to life. Support our journalism by becoming an OPB sustaining member today at opb.org/pod. And now, back to the show.
He brings me the crab, he brings me the salmon.
And you have the vision of...
I'm in Otis, a rural area in the Oregon Coast Range. I'm visiting Dale. He lives here with his grandmother, Carolyn.
There's ranching and farming and fishing, a lot of fishing, hunting in the area. So we're not right in the city, which makes it really nice.
Dale and Carolyn are making sushi with fresh crab that Dale caught. Back in 2017, when Dale was 10, he woke up to a violent night that changed everything for him.
Well, my mom was drinking, and my mom and my stepdad got in a fight because at like 2 o'clock in the morning, my sister didn't wake up, surprisingly, banging each other against the wall and slamming doors.
He got in the middle of the fight to try to break it up and got hurt.
His mother started some bad habits, and it caused a lot of issues with her and with the kids, and child services got involved.
After a long struggle with Oregon's Child Protective Services Division, Dale's grandmother was able to establish custody over Dale. He's lived with her ever since.
I ended up with both the kids, and we moved here, and another reason for moving here is we had more room for the kids to have their own room and their own privacy.
After this incident, Dale became
very aggressive, very closed off. He would rarely communicate with us. I maybe saw him smile 2 or 3 times. He was in crisis mode, and he was very much shut down.
That's Becca Bostwick, Dale's former elementary school principal, recalling how Dale's character changed. Dale would get in fights in school and often had a hard time staying focused in classes. Michelle Hodera is the Director of Research and Evaluation for Portland-based nonprofit Education Northwest. She says experiencing trauma as a child really impacts student achievement.
There's a whole body of research on the negative impacts of trauma on student learning. Trauma makes it harder for students to concentrate. Trauma makes it harder for students to regulate their emotions. And so all of this can impact students' engagement in school, their grades. It can lead to a higher likelihood of dropping out. And so a school's response to trauma is really important. And a trauma-informed approach looks like a safe and supportive learning environment and an investment in mental health resources for children and youth.
Dale got some one-on-one tutoring with a retired teacher before going back to Taft, the school in Lincoln City where Bostwick was principal. And Bostwick supported and was there for Dale, allowing him to take breaks and work in the office if he didn't want to attend classes like PE and band.
Well, the influence she really had was, I don't know, she just wanted good for me, I guess. Wanted me to keep, even if I wasn't doing a whole lot of work, she wanted me to at least be there for my attendance and all that, and she would try to help me with stuff.
Since the age of 10, Dale's connection to his mom has been broken. They don't speak. And Dale says the last time he liked school was when he was living in Portland. That's before he faced this traumatic life experience. In 7th grade, he moved on to the next school. He started falling off with school more and more as time went on.
I just never really wanted to be there. I'd rather be at home doing other stuff, and there's more stuff I like to actually do instead of doing all that. Like, I'm a visual learner, it's hard for me to be, there on paper doing all the paper stuff.
7th grade was also the year school shut down and went online due to COVID. That made Dale's connection to school even weaker. He says it just wasn't for him.
I was more looking forward to trying to get a job, start making money, and just do actual stuff that will make me somewhere in life. Because, school doesn't always give you everything that you need. And I'd rather learn life skills, trades, and doing other important stuff that would get me somewhere in life than going to actual book school.
His grandmother, Carolyn, grew up in Arizona. She dropped out of high school when she got pregnant with Dale's aunt. She knows Dale's a hard worker, so she's very supportive of his decision to leave school.
And he still has many opportunities he could explore. I, myself, have encouraged him to try to at least get his GED, so any of his future learning is accountable. He may or may not. Some of the most successful people I've known didn't have a high school diploma.
Yeah, I've definitely thought about getting my GED, and I still might, but as of right now, not at the moment.
And Carolyn's right. Dale works hard. He's been working since he was 16, doing side jobs like carpentry, painting houses, and landscaping. His most regular gig right now is working on septic tanks.
It's basically insulation, like installing or repairing. Just a lot of repairing mostly and installing. There's quite a bit to it. There's a lot of different types of systems out there. It's pretty much sewage, but if somebody does get into sewage, it's usually me. But I wear muck boots and all that for a reason. Gloves, not so much, but you learn to deal with it. I mean, the sun is what kills it the best, so.
Like Leyna, we've been following Dale since he was in kindergarten. One of the moments we captured over the years with Dale is from a science fair in 4th grade. He won 2nd place.
This is about my 60 time setup, but over spring break, I set it up about 50 times.
Wow. And a lot of those times it didn't work, you had to keep on working on it to make it work?
Yeah, it worked, but it didn't work as good.
In a first grade video with him, he's curious and a little shy. When he was younger, he wanted to be...
I want to be a lifeguard because I like boats.
Dale liked boats then. He still does now, too. Just not the lifeguard part.
I kind of want to see myself getting out there on the fishing boats. If it's, charters out there in Depot Bay or out in Newport on the commercial boats doing shrimping or crabbing. Where I really want to be is doing the commercial crabbing, because that's where all the money's at. And you can make a really good living off of it. It's rough work, it's hard work, but it can be fun if you have the right captains and right deckhands.
As I sit across from Dale, you can tell he's not really a kid anymore. He grew up pretty fast. He runs errands and fixes things around the house. He's responsible and has a type of confidence I don't typically see in teenagers I interview. He knows exactly who he is and where he comes from. And this is a story about the class of 2025, a story about education. But when we met with Dale, we hardly even talked about school, because Dale's past that.
I definitely don't see a need for a degree or any sorts, just to where I'm looking for. If anything, a couple, licenses like that, but you don't need degrees for that, or GEDs really, like CDLs, or a captain's license for a boat of some sort eventually.
But I think the hands-on and the life stuff is one of those better teachers that you can carry all the way through your life.
I'm here interviewing Dale with my editor, Rob Manning. He's the person who started OPB's Class of 2025 project. He asks Dale about the goal that the state declared back in 2012.
What do you think of that as a goal?
Well, it's not for everybody, and they can't expect everybody to succeed in that.
Does anybody ask, well, why aren't you in school, or why aren't you getting a high school diploma? Do you feel like is there any stigma that you experience from people around that, or do you sort of get it, or do people feel similarly to you that
There's a lot of people out there that ask that question, ask if, why I don't go to school, or why haven't you gone to school or finished school? I'm like, most of it is just, I tell them it's not for everybody. And it's not everybody learns the same. It's not something I'm really interested in.
Dale shows us around his many projects in the backyard. He chops some wood, then hops on a small excavator to move more wood around. Elsewhere on the property, there's the beginnings of a garage where eventually Dale will have a dedicated spot to work on things. We've been interviewing Dale and his grandma Carolyn all day. There's one thing I've noticed since being here. They're very close and have a lot of respect for one another.
My grandmother, she's taught me a lot of important life lessons. And, she means a lot to me. She's one of the only people that are actually still there and around in my life.
Unlike many of the students in the class of 2025, I'm just getting to meet Dale and Carolyn right as the project comes to an end. But it feels like meeting old friends after Rob's told me about them all these years. And they seem to feel a similar way. They tell us to stop by next time we're in Lincoln City for some fresh salmon.
The experiences that I've, dealt with and experienced today and in the past, it shaped me into being a better man. Just life goes on, and just I'm better. I don't know, better than what I used to be, and always looking forward, not back.
He is a lot calmer, more rational now. The constant chaotic environment he was in was just unsustainable. And I'm not a yeller and a screamer, even when I'm pissed. So he was used to be, it was always an attack mode or defense mode for him, which he learned over time. I'm not that way. So he learned to readjust the way he dealt with confrontation and problems that would come up. Look, it's not the end of the world.
life goes on.
Life goes on.
Improving Oregon's graduation rate is a good goal to have, but from reporting on this Class of 2025 project, I've learned there's more than one way to get through high school, and it might take longer than 4 years. Dale and Leyna aren't the only students we're following who aren't graduating on time, or at all. Because of their experiences, these students are taking their own path to adulthood, and it might not include a diploma. Another thing I've observed is these students do have a support system, helping them make the best decisions for them.
Next time on The Evergreen.
He's starting to get it that no matter what struggles, I can be like my parents. I can own businesses. I can, own a home and all these things, because we didn't have those things 10, 15 years ago. We didn't have much of anything, so.
We'll continue our Class of 2025 series and share the stories of the parents who shape us. You can find links to all of OPB's coverage of the Class of 2025, including podcast episodes just like this one, in the show notes. Thanks for listening to The Evergreen, a podcast from OPB. Mia Estrada produced this episode, and our technical director is Stephen Cray. The OPB podcast team also includes Julie Sabatier and Sage Van Wing. Elizabeth Miller, Rob Manning, and Mia Estrada did the interviews you heard. The music in this episode is from Audio Network. And if you have a question for us, please reach out. Email theevergreen@opb.org. I'm Jen Chavez. Catch you later.